think.
Yeah.
There
Yep.
you go. We got it. Okay. Well,
You
hi,
got
Pat.
it.
Yeah, welcome to the Thursday. This is March the 5th, 2026, and we're just going to have our Thursday night chit chat. And we're looking
Say.
at the book, The Biblio Diet from Josh Axe and Jordan Rubin. Yeah. So let's start with Pat. How'd your week go?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Oh,
I
one of
don't.
those weeks. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't mention it. It's one of those weeks. Yeah. At least it got warmer, though. You have to think of the positive. You know. Yeah.
Did you get out in the
Yeah.
sunshine a little bit?
No, there wasn't that much sunshine. I think that's the whole thing. Pittsburgh doesn't have much sun a lot of times, and it kind of gets you down after a while. I don't know about where you live, but we're known as especially in the winter,
Yeah, the winter
hardly
time
any
we didn't get a
sunshine.
lot of sun, and if we did, we're not outside anyway. But we had sun this week, at least for one day. It was beautiful. It was warm. I got out for a little walk. It wasn't big because I was with someone, with a client,
Uh-huh.
but I did get out for a walk, and that was nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
What was
Yeah,
happening that was challenging this week? Sounds like you had a challenge.
well, it was kind of work, them cutting me back and figuring out where I was supposed to, what days I'm supposed to go and different things like that. But I did have
Right.
a nice experience because I've done some demo work years ago
Yeah.
in different stores, okay? And so they had me do a demo. Um, and this is the second time they had it. It was better this time because it was a different manager handling what was going on. And
Right.
I I had it was a nice day, and I sold a lot for them, so they should be happy. Okay.
Well, that's
And
good.
if you're a positive person, um, and this is what I was told. Somebody came by and told me that worked there. She says, you're the type of person that people will say hello to and draws to, okay? And that's a big thing when you're demoing, not to push people away or act like you're glad to see them. Different things like
Right.
that.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So uh, they've never had demoing before in this
Oh,
market. No, they never had demos before. And so when I put that on my resume, not that that's going to get me any more money, but it'll be nice to do it, because I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people and
yes.
everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah.
realize that, if they're going to a
Yeah.
demo and they know that person wants you to be there, like even just to talk, and sometimes that's what people want, just a moment to
Hmm.
talk or whatever.
Right.
And you talk about your product, that's some sort of connection that you have with them right there.
Yeah, and it's all natural. I was selling all things that were natural, no,
Nice.
nothing else in them, and pointing that out. And I'll tell you a little funny story. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm telling you a little story. This grandfather came in with his granddaughter, and I was demoing the peanut butter with honey.
Yeah.
And you grinded it right in front of them. Okay, you grind it from the nuts. They're coated with honey. Okay, and it's already all you do is grind that and put it in a container, and that's what you sell them. And I said gave her a little sample, and oh my gosh, this is great. This tastes, and it does. It tastes great. And she says, can I take one of these, Grandpap? And he says, sure, sure. So he says, put it in the cart. So she walking away, he looks at me and says, you're pretty good at sales. So I
Isn't
had to
that
laugh at
nice?
that. You're pretty
Yeah.
good at sales. That was
Yeah,
cute,
that was nice.
to make
So
a,
it's natural things that you're selling, and people are really looking for health today because they know
right?
that the healthcare system really can't do that part. They're there if we
Right.
get sick, but we want to prevent
Exactly.
getting sick, right?
Right, right, right. Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
processed. And then I sold a small bottle of juice that was all natural, apples and what was it? Carrots, apples and carrots. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to taste odd. It had like cinnamon in it and some seasonings, no, nothing else. Okay. But it made it taste really, really good. So
Mhm.
that was going to people
Yeah.
that really are looking for natural, though. The peanut butter went more because, it's peanut butter. But this drink, is a little harder to sell
And
because
because of
nobody's
the
going to pay
thought,
for a
because
little.
of the mindset, right? I
Yeah.
mean, people have
Yeah.
had peanut butter and honey sandwiches or whatever for years, and it's been a
Right.
good blend. But when you think of
Yeah.
carrots and apples,
Yeah,
well,
right. That's
carrots
what
and
I mean.
apples,
I
like,
know.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So
What's,
everything
do
that
you know
you
what
do
called?
sell, you try to sample yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I give samples out too. Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Right. Right. And it was very good. What's cold pressed? Do you know what? I forgot to ask him that. Do you know what cold pressed is? Okay. That's what
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
apples and
Well, that's what you
the,
want. That's definitely what you
okay.
want. You want cold pressed because that just means you're pressing it. You're not using heat to extract the
Oh.
liquids because
Oh. Okay.
yeah, so it makes a big difference. Like when we're talking about fats, which is what we've been talking about for the past few weeks, if you have vegetable oils, it's got goes through
Mhm.
this whole process and it goes to very, very high heat of the vegetable
Oh.
oils and so on and so on, and a whole process to extract those oils. But
Uh-huh.
if you get olive oil, all you got to do is, get it in a barrel and start stomping on it, start pressing it, and you're going to get
Okay.
the oils
Okay.
out of it. Likewise with coconut oil,
Oh, yeah, I
avocado
see what you
oil,
mean
they're
now.
just
Yeah, I see
cold
what you mean
pressed,
now.
and that's
Okay.
the difference. You don't
I
use those
gotcha.
high heats
Mhm. All right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
or
Natural. Yeah.
chemicals or any of that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
And to tell you the truth, I'd rather demo those kind of things also. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That's in me to, talk about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because you've been in this
Mhm.
health field for a very, very
Right.
long time,
Right. So it's
you
be
know?
hard to, demo something I don't believe in, you know what I mean? And it was
Exactly.
expensive,
It would
maybe,
be.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's really important for anybody that's a salesman. If you're trying to sell something, whether you're trying to sell an ideology or a religion or product, you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
believe in what you're going to sell. Because if you don't
Right.
believe in it yourself, how can you sell it? So,
Right.
there's certain
That's
things out
true.
there I could never sell that because I don't believe in it. But things that I
Right.
do believe in, I can
hmm
sell
hmm Right. See? Yeah.
or sell it
Yeah.
better anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's really funny. I went through a divorce and years ago, and I took a job. They were looking for somebody. This fellow was looking from his home to sell life insurance policies. And I was at Weight Watchers too at that time as a leader. And I said to him, I had to take a test in order to sell it, the life insurance policy. And that was hard for me to do. I haven't taken tests for I don't know how many years. And but I passed the test. And I said to him, if you write me out a script, I'll be able to sell it. And he did that for me. He wrote me out a script. It was much easier for me to read his script. You know what I mean? It was telephone work and
Right.
sell the life insurance policies. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But he
Yeah.
then he passed away a year later, so I didn't sell any more of that. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I used to do years and years ago. I sold newspapers,
Okay.
newspaper
Mhm.
subscriptions. You would call them up and whatever, and try
Okay.
to sell the newspapers. And then I kind of moved on to more subscriber service where I would, um, help people that were having delivery problems and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Mhm.
It's
But yeah,
something.
we had a script as well. It just
Oh, did
made
you?
it easy.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Even if I'm making an important phone call, I have a piece of paper and I've written down what I want to say, or at
Me
least the
too.
notes, at least
Yes.
point form, so I
Bullet
don't
points.
forget
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
you
Me
made
too.
the phone call and then you think afterwards, oh my goodness, I forgot that. That was so important.
Yeah.
Or going to a
Yeah.
doctor. If you go to a doctor,
Yeah.
same thing. I usually go with a little bit of a list of I got to remember to ask him about this and this and this and this or whatever, rather than
Yeah,
if
right,
we're only
right.
allowed to go in with one problem. But I always ask a couple other things, and
Oh, sure.
my doctor's always good. Not all
Yeah.
are. Some say, sorry, you have
Oh,
to make another
really?
appointment to ask that.
You're kidding. Oh
It's
my
one thing per
gosh.
appointment,
Wow.
which makes no sense really, because sometimes those things are related,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
you could say, okay, I've got this symptom, and I think that this is related to because I have this symptom and this symptom and this symptom or whatever.
You could do that. Okay.
You could pull it off that way.
Okay. Yeah, you'd have to write
Yeah.
it down like you said. Right.
Yeah, write it
Oh,
down. Yeah, for
life is
sure.
something, isn't it? Yeah, life is something.
It certainly is. Yeah, and I've had a good week with the nice day, going for a walk, getting outside, and I think it
Okay.
just feels so good to be out in the sun. I'm looking forward to a bit more sun, and it's coming. It's coming. We're going to have
Oh, I
17
know.
degrees Fahrenheit, which is almost room temperature
Oh my
um,
gosh.
in a couple days. So I'm like,
And we're gonna have
oh,
we're
wonderful.
gonna have 74 we're gonna have 74 degrees in a couple days. Can you believe that?
Okay, so that's just a couple degrees higher than mine. Mine will probably be more like 66 or 68,
Okay.
but
Oh, okay. Okay. I forgot. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Forgot.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
still that's beautiful. You'll have to have
Isn't
your
it?
windows open, get some fresh air in, get outside, get
Yeah.
some sun. If you don't get much sun in Pittsburgh, then take advantage of what you can get when you can get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our
Yep.
bodies
Yeah.
really need the vitamin D. And yeah, you can take vitamin D supplements, but it's not as good as the
I
original
know.
source,
I do
right?
take vitamin D3 though. Yeah. My doctor says take
D3.
vitamin D3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
D3, K2 usually, because you need the K2 to assimilate the D3.
Oh,
But make sure that when you can get sun, that you give it your best shot.
oh yeah, definitely.
It's better for you.
Definitely.
Well,
Yep.
Pat, you ready for our book?
I'm ready. I got it. Yep.
Okay, page 83. So this is a book we've been looking through every week, just a little bit. It came from a member of this group, which it has just been so kind. Melanie, she gave it to us, and it's just written by Linda BB, Prophetic Words for Everyday Living. God wants to speak to us every day, and He speaks to us in so many ways. He speaks to us through His Word, through other people, road signs, just in the stillness and the quietness of our heart, uh, circumstances, and He can speak through this book.
Mm-hmm.
So let me read it. I have tried you in the furnace. You ever felt like you've been in the furnace of life? I'm sure you have. I've
Sure.
tried you in the furnace of affliction, and you shall come forth as pure gold. When
Mm.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood in the midst of the flames, there was another standing with them. And although the heat was turned up 7 times more than usual, they were not harmed. That same Jesus is standing with you in your fiery circumstance. Even though everyone you trusted has failed you, He will never forsake you. He will contend with those who contend with you and give the power you need to stand. You are searching for direction, but I say to you, go back to your place of beginning. Return to your first love. Listen to me and me alone, and I will show you the way. I love this because so many people go through hard circumstances. We've gone through many and we'll go through more. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
life is. And some things are extremely difficult. Some things I couldn't even imagine what people are going through today,
Right, right,
you
right,
know? But
right,
you've
right.
been through the whole cancer journey. That was a very, very difficult circumstance.
Yes,
I've been through
yes, yes.
hard circumstances. And
Mm-hmm.
to know that the only place that we can really find refuge, that we can find help, is in the Lord. Just being
Right.
with Him and listening to Him, and uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then He shows us
And
what
Rick,
to do. Sometimes what He says to do is nothing. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. See how He's going to defend you. See how He's going to bring
yeah,
you through. You know.
yeah. But I found with me going through these as I'm getting older, okay, it makes me go back and recognize how I actually got through some of those things. And I'm very
Right.
grateful for that. At that time, I didn't recognize who was helping me or I was being helped, okay, because some of them are a long time, as we're indicating, okay, that you're going
Right.
through something. And but when you look back, when you lived as long as I have, and you look back, you go, oh, wow, you know, this is how I was led away from this terrible thing that's happened to me, or this is how somebody led me on to handle a very uncomfortable situation, different things like that. And thank goodness I learned that because some people never learn that. Some people
That's
who
true.
don't believe there's
Yeah,
an almighty, uh, they don't believe that, you know.
that's right. They believe in coincidence or that they did it themselves or
Yep.
whatever. But I think it's
Hmm.
so important for us when something comes our way or close to someone that's close to us,
Yes.
and to remember how God delivered in the past, how God brought an answer in the past, how God took circumstances that just seemed so overwhelming, like it was,
Hmm.
more than we could bear. And he
Right.
still took us through that triumphantly.
Right.
And
Right.
he'll do it
It
not
really
just for
makes you feel
us,
good.
but he'll
Yes.
do it also for the people that we love and
Right.
care
Right.
about.
Absolutely. It's amazing.
Sometimes
It's
they
amazing.
don't have the strength sometimes even to think about it or to stand. And in that situation, we can just bring that to the Lord in remembrance and say, Lord,
Hmm.
remember when you did that for me? Remember how you
Hmm.
brought me through? I pray that you
Hmm.
would bring that person through too.
Right. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I have that prayer group, and and hearing them talk about their circumstances also, the other women, and how
Yep.
they're coming through different situations. It really
Yep.
is very enlightening, that's for sure, to be,
It
and then
is.
we have prayer uh, requests. We have prayer requests, and I can see why that really does help to be on a prayer list when you
Yeah.
need help, have surroundings like that. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the power of support groups. And
Right.
we need support
Hmm.
from each other. We weren't
Hmm.
intended to just live by ourselves. You might live
Right.
on your own. I mean, I do,
Right.
but you have the support of other people. You can share your burden with others, and then they help carry that burden, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's so or listening in a support group. You listen to someone else's story, maybe even something that they did, and you're like,
Hmm.
huh, I think that might work for me. So
Hmm.
then we
Hmm.
might try
Right.
it, right?
Right. 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 Right.
And
And
I know for a long, Mhm. Go ahead.
oh, how I learned that was I went to counseling at one time, a church counseling, okay, counselor. And I explained my situation. He knew me exactly because I guess we fall into categories as
Yes.
people. Okay.
Yeah.
And he said to me, why don't you confide in other people? You keep everything, and it was making me sick. You keep everything inside you. You're afraid to share.
Yeah.
And he says, don't be afraid to share. And he said, you will know who you can share with and who you can't share with. You'll learn
Hmm.
that. And ever since that, and that was 20 some years ago, ever since that, maybe I share too much sometimes, I don't know, but I've learned to do that through my lifetime, to share different circumstances. Hmm.
I'm sure you've heard of a type A personality, and type A personalities being more prone to heart attacks.
Ah,
Right? Well, there's also other types, and I believe it's the type C that is prone to cancer, but there are other personality types. And the
wow.
defining factor in that type is that they hold all their emotions, their thoughts, their pains in.
Really? Oh my
So then what
gosh.
happens is their body starts to self-destruct.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what
Mhm.
was happening years ago. Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you've since learned so many new things, not only,
Right.
you know, eating well and all of that, but also how to deal with your emotions and to be able to trust other people.
Right.
And, maybe they'll betray you. Maybe they will. But Jesus was betrayed too. So you're in good company if that happens, right? And
Isn't
to know,
that the
but who to
truth?
confide in, who to share with, who not to share
Yeah.
with, how much to share. And,
Right.
but we need that
Right.
support,
Yeah.
you know,
And I
we
think what
really
the way I put it is, Kathy, you have a connection with different people. You know what I mean?
yes.
You recognize a connection. Okay. This is the way I
Yeah.
put it in my language. Okay. I can feel that connection that I can confide in that person, Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I remember that years ago when I had kids too. I had, oh, maybe 4 or 5 close friends, but
Hmm.
they each represented some other part of my life. Like I was very involved with doing like daycare and that kind of thing. So I had one friend and we were really connected through that, everything that had to do with that. Another one that had multiple kids, like me, so
Hmm.
we really
Hmm.
connected over that.
Okay. Okay.
Another one, she was a real prayer warrior and we really connected with that, so different aspects of myself,
Uh-huh.
because one
Uh-huh.
person can't fill it all. So you have
Right.
just a small handful of friends that you
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
connect
Yeah.
over with. One wants to do
Hmm.
what was very health focused. Let's connect over that, that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Right. It's amazing well, I had to learn it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through life, you learn through life sometimes, but you're happy you learn through life. Yeah.
And we learn mostly with our failures.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right. You're
Isn't
right.
that awful? But we do.
Isn't
We
it?
learn through our failures. We mess up.
Yes.
We do something wrong, and we're like, that wasn't good. Next time I will
Yes.
do it differently. Um,
Yes.
at least that's how I learn a lot.
Right, right. You're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what it's intended to be. When something happens and you mess up with something, that's okay. Learn
Mm-hmm.
from it. So
Yeah.
we
Learn from
we
it. Move
oftentimes
forward.
talk not only about life here, but we talk about the way that we eat or exercise,
Mm-hmm.
and you find that what you're doing isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Learn from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you
Right.
wound up having, say, a binge and you ate, I don't know, a
Right.
whole bag of chips or something,
Mm-hmm.
find out why did you do that? Ask yourself
Yeah.
those serious questions and be honest
Yes.
with yourself.
Right, right, right. And this is amazing how you can change. You can change after you investigate, and you don't like that part of your life that much that you want to make it better. You know what I mean? And
Right.
you actually can do that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Recognizing why did I do that and
Mm-hmm.
what could I do instead of doing whatever it is that I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get moving on to the book. The book is The Biblio
Sure.
Diet, and it's by Josh Axe and Jordan Rubin. And we've got us on here today. I don't know why my Zoom works sometimes and why not sometimes it doesn't. I know nothing about technology. I just had to fiddle around with my printer for a couple hours and yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, meat. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
meat today. Meat
Mm-hmm.
as medicine. So in today's cultural conversion about eating well, there is a lot of mixed feelings about meat. You probably heard or even said it yourself, statements like hamburgers are bad for the environment or red meat isn't good for your heart. Veganism or vegetarianism are often presented as healthier options. However, we're here to advocate for the benefits of eating meat. Let us explain why and how incorporating meat into your diet can be a nutritious, ethical, and environmentally responsible and even beneficial choice. So recently, a friend of mine, so this is Josh's wife, approached me for health guidance, a yoga instructor who ate a vegetarian diet. She confided in me about her 2-year-old struggle with getting pregnant. She was also tired much of the time, despite eating natural foods and exercising regularly. After discussing her lifestyle with her, I suggested she add meat to her diet. A staunch vegan, initially, she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't thrilled. After I
Mm-mm.
explained the benefits of organic grass-fed meat, wild caught fish, and pasture-raised eggs, however, she chose to give it a try. 2 months later, she followed up with great news. This yoga instructor had never felt better. She told me she had more energy and felt like a new person. About
Wow.
9 months later, she was pregnant.
Ah,
Now, I'm not saying she got pregnant because she started eating hamburgers. I mean, that's not how it happens, guys. But there was definitely a connection. So this woman wasn't the only one I coached with similar struggles. Over the years, I've counseled many vegetarians and vegans who avoid animal foods because of a variety of concerns, including animal welfare, environmental impact, and health risks such as heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. Yet these same people often have iron, protein, and vitamin B12 deficiencies, which take a significant toll on their health. It's kind of interesting because Dr. Robert Kiltz is a fertility specialist. He has clinics throughout the States, and he treats his patients, along with other things, with the carnivore diet for healing. That doesn't mean they have to do that for life. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, but with eating red meat and lots
hmm.
of fat, because your
Mm-hmm.
hormones need the fat. And oftentimes, people that have been dieting a lot, they're not even having their periods. And so, even if they are, they've got PCOS, which he calls plant caused ovarian syndrome, because plants have toxins. So, it's very interesting. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
behind it. So, if
Wow.
anyone's looking to get pregnant, I'm just not saying that's what you should do, but if you feel like you want to give it a try, you might think about it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Michaela Peterson, the daughter of Dr. Jordan Peterson, renowned clinical psychologist, professor, and best-selling author, has been vocal about her dietary lifestyle choice. Peterson was seven years old when she was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. This
Wow.
illness progressively worsened and led to multiple joint replacements in her teenage years. Alongside arthritis, she had chronic fatigue, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, hypersomnia, rashes, asthma, autoimmune disease, and numerous other health issues that severely impacted her quality of life. It was only when she started experimenting with her diet that she found relief. So it took some time, but thanks to her consuming only meat, salt, and water, alongside a subsequent diagnosis of genetic predisposition to certain bacteria and mold, Michaela's symptoms subsided, and she was
Mm-hmm.
eating ruminant meat, red meats. So that's things like beef,
Mm-hmm.
bison, deer, elk,
Mm-hmm.
uh, goat, sheep. So for the first time in her life, she began to thrive. She's been on this carnivore diet, or what's commonly called the lion diet, since 2017. So that's almost 10 years, 9 years now. And there's other people
Mm-hmm.
that have been on it much longer. Some
Mm-hmm.
people have been on it for 40, 50, 60 years, their whole life.
Wow.
And it just works for them. They're healthy. There is
Yes.
a
Yes.
rancher. Her name's Maggie. I don't know her full name, but she's in Alberta, and she is 85-ish. Don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
It could be 84, 87. She has eaten
Yeah.
just beef her whole life. And
Wow.
she is amazing. She hops over fences. She can wrestle a
Hmm.
bull. She does all kinds of things. And but she's healthy,
Yeah.
because we actually need those amino acids, and we won't get them from plants. No way, no how.
No.
It's not happening.
Right. Right.
And you hear this argument a lot. People say, oh, yeah, but look at the nutrients that are in there. That's true. The nutrients are in the plants. However,
Mm-hmm.
they are not bioavailable. In other words, your body can't use them. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you noticed, or not use them to their full extent. They may use a little bit, but along with that, you're getting some anti-nutrients too. So they might use it a little bit.
Right.
But when you eat a lot of plants, what it does give you is a lot of fiber.
Yes.
And I know some people promote more and more fiber because you will have more and more bowel movements.
Hmm.
But if you're on a carnivore diet with sufficient fat, your bowels
Yes.
will work even better. Somebody who's having a bowel problem, the treatment for that with many bowel conditions is to stop the fiber,
Wow.
stop the plants. And I'm
Hmm.
like, well, that's interesting. The way you're going to treat that is by stopping the plants.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's something that I struggled with a lot was constipation, like severe constipation.
Oh, okay.
But when I stopped the plants, it was fixed.
Hmm. I
So it's
see.
very, very interesting.
I
I'm
often
not, go ahead.
I often wondered, because when you talk to certain people, they strictly think theirs is the only way to go. And you
Right.
never were like that. You were never like that. You always did say to me, and I appreciated that, whatever
Mhm.
works for you, this is what you should do. And isn't that the
I
truth?
agree.
Yes. Not
I do
everybody
agree with
thinks
that.
like that. Yes, you
And I've
do.
never been
Hmm.
on a lion diet. The lion diet, is just ruminant meat and water, salt. I don't do that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I add spices. Some people can't add spices. They can't
Hmm.
tolerate them, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
I will even add, some chopped up onion or mushroom or something for
Hmm.
flavor.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's not carnivore exactly.
Right.
And if I go out somewhere and they have vegetables, I'll have some vegetables. I'm not,
Hmm.
not dogmatic about it.
Right.
But yeah, I totally agree. There's
Hmm.
How can I say what someone else should do? God has given us all of these things to eat,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we have different sensitivities too, different allergies, in fact.
Right. Right.
And we don't know very much, really. So, is it not possible that some people can't eat some things because technically they have an allergy to it? And the way that they react to that food is by,
Hmm.
whatever, not being able to
Hmm.
handle it. So that
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
could be, who knows? We're all trying to figure things out.
Yeah, and I used to
Anyway,
say when I was
mhm.
teaching, I used to say, try it once. See how it goes with you. That's what I used to say. If it doesn't go with you, don't do it again. That's my knowledge. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? Try it
And
once, you know?
I think that that's the best way to approach it too. If you want
Hmm.
to try something and by once, whatever, try something for a couple weeks or a few days. If
Yeah.
you're finding you're having a severe reaction after a few days, and stop
Yeah.
it. Or
Right.
even after one time, stop it if you need to. But
Yeah.
otherwise, if you're experimenting with something, maybe give it a couple weeks and see how do you react to that. Are you
Hmm.
finding any
Hmm.
significant difference? That's the other thing. I drink decaf coffee. Well, a
Hmm.
true quote carnivore doesn't drink decaf coffee or any
Oh,
kind of
really?
coffee for that matter because, well, Michaela Peterson wouldn't because it's not on the lion diet. That's just beef,
Okay.
salt, and water,
Oh,
basically,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Right.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Hmm. Yep.
But as you were saying, for all of us, we have to discover for ourselves what we need and how much we need of
Hmm.
different things. So if you
Hmm.
find that if you're eating something and you're reacting to it in some negative way, then maybe try something else. And if you don't know what it is that you're going through, it's worth it to try. Try
Hmm.
vegan for a month. Go ahead, try it.
Yeah.
But then also try carnivore for a month. Try that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Try
Hmm.
Mediterranean for a month. See
Right,
how that
right, right.
goes.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong
Hmm.
with that. Unless you have
No.
something seriously wrong with you,
Oh, yeah.
you
Oh,
can
yeah.
experiment. You can experiment with that. And that
Right,
would
right,
really show you what to do. And the other thing is, just because you do something for a period of time doesn't mean that you have to do that for life.
right, right. Yeah.
Because people go on strict, this narrow, I'm just going to eat this. Well, that's
Yeah.
fine. But maybe at some point you might want to add something else in and see how your body reacts to it. And
Hmm.
if it works
Hmm.
okay, maybe you're okay with that. I know Michaela Peterson has tried that on several occasions. She's tried to
Mm-hmm.
add, egg yolks, or tried to add, maybe not egg yolks, but something.
Right.
I don't want to misquote her, but I have watched her videos,
Mm-hmm.
some of them.
Okay.
And so
And check
Jordan
with your
Peterson,
doctor. You know what I mean? And check with
check
your
with your
doctor. I used to
doctor.
say that too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Check with
Yeah.
your doctor, especially if you have any kind of health condition that you know of,
Right.
or or whatever. Or if you're pregnant or nursing, that's not a time you want to mess around.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan Peterson, so that's her dad, was
Mm-hmm.
influenced by his daughter to try the lion diet, which similarly resolved his health issues, which is very interesting. So it worked for
Mm-hmm.
Michaela, but it also worked for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was depressed. So it healed the depression. It also
Wow.
healed the GERD, reflux, gastroesophageal reflux disease,
Mm.
fatigue, and gum disease.
Oh,
So the big thing with him, it was the depression. That was huge. And there's been a lot of other people with depression. So as a
oh
public
yeah.
figure, Dr. Peterson has drawn attention to the potentially radical benefits of a carnivore diet centered on meat. But the Petersons' meat eating lifestyle is actually nothing new. For many civilizations, animal meat is the most cherished of resources. This is true for an African tribe called the Hadza, one of the last hunter-gatherer people groups on Earth. Recognizing their reliance on natural resources, they use the land that they inhabit for survival. On multiple trips over the last 15 years, Eric Edmeades, Wild Fit founder, journeyed to northern Tanzania on a quest
Mm-hmm.
to discover the eating patterns of this primitive civilization.
Mm.
Edmeades discovered the one thing these people prize above all else, and that's animal meat. They plan around it, they talk about it, and when they're not hunting, they're making bows and arrows. From his experience, animal meat is exalted. Could it be because of its nutrient dense and healing properties? And the most famous carnivore you probably never heard of understood the importance of including animal meat in our diet. Starting in the 1920s, this Wilhelm Muir or whatever Stephenson,
Oh
a
my.
Nordic yeah, really, anthropologist and Arctic explorer, studied the Inuit lifestyle by living with them. He adopted their dietary lifestyle, which consisted of a seal, caribou, whale, waterfowl, and a little vegetable consumption. Because way up in the Arctic, they just don't have that. It doesn't grow.
Right.
Their
Right.
days were long and grueling, and yet their energy levels never waned. So Stephenson noted zero existence of obesity and disease, making the Inuit the healthiest people he had ever seen. The
Mm.
healthiest people, but they never ate vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Only a very,
Mm-hmm.
very tiny amount, and that would be in a very short growing season that they would have.
Right.
So, to
Mm.
demonstrate that a predominantly meat based diet could foster robust health and might even be preferable, he and a colleague embarked on an experiment. They admitted themselves to a hospital for 1 year, and they ate only
Oh.
steak, roast beef, brains,
Mm-hmm.
tongue, and calf liver. Although medical experts warned them that they would get sick and they would likely die, the two men
Mm.
thrived. They were fitter and they were leaner, maintained a normal blood pressure, and didn't develop any kidney or other issues, as naysayers had warned. Their experiment demonstrated that the Inuit meat-based diet works. In Stephenson's words, never felt better. There's
Yeah.
actually a lot of stories going back there. Another one was on Salisbury. So Salisbury, it was during some war, and his troops got really sick with dysentery. And so how he treated dysentery is he fed them only
Wow.
beef, nothing else. And
Wow.
all of them got better.
Amazing.
So as a healing protocol, so we're talking about meat as medicine right now. As
Mm-hmm.
a healing
Mm-hmm.
protocol, it's
Mm-hmm.
it does work for many things. So meat matters to our makeup. So while admittedly a solely meat-based carnivore diet is extreme and it's restrictive, it's not
Hmm.
unhealthy if done properly and for a period of time. A Harvard study followed 2,000 participants who consumed a diet that was at least 85% red meat for 14 months. The results unveiled a health jackpot: higher LDL, HDL cholesterol, balanced triglycerides, and less reliance on diabetes medication. Red meat is an excellent source of high quality protein and essential nutrients, many of which are more easily absorbed by our bodies compared to other food sources. That's what I was saying. You might have
Hmm.
all those nutrients in the plants, but your body can absorb it naturally through the meat.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, animal meat is also a potent source of stearic acid, a saturated fat that helps with weight loss and mitochondrial function and does not contribute to heart disease. Perhaps the most well-known nutrient found in animal meat is protein. The word protein is derived from the Greek proteos, which means primary or first rank. The human body requires 20 amino acids to build body organs, muscles, and nerves and to work properly. Our physiology gives us the capacity to convert amino acids into proteins that combat invading protozoa, bacteria, and viruses. Protein-rich foods such as meat, poultry, and fish are important to good health, which is
Hmm.
why we do not advocate a low meat or strictly vegetarian diet.
Hmm.
Responsible for building and repairing tissue. Protein ranks as the most important nutrient that your body needs, even more important than fats and much more essential than carbohydrates. If you don't
Right.
consume enough protein, your body will wither and become very weak. Protein is that important. Besides driving the engine of growth and development within your body, proteins are the building blocks of hormones, antibodies, and enzymes, and help maintain the proper acid alkaline balance in your body. Muscles, organs, and hormones are comprised of protein. Since the human
Mm.
body simply does not store proteins for later use, as it does with carbohydrates, and to a greater extent, fats. You must continually replenish the body's stores by consuming protein-rich foods. What are
Hmm.
the best, most complete sources of protein for the body? Meat from animals, specifically grass-fed or pasture-raised beef, lamb,
Hmm.
goat, poultry, buffalo, and venison
Hmm.
represent a nutrient gold mine. Just to be clear, the Biblio diet is not an all-meat diet, nor do we advocate eating one without the advice of a physician, like you were saying, Pat.
Right, right.
Now, there are many, many physicians out there that do support a carnivore diet or lion diet, but you may
Hmm.
have to hunt them down because it's not standard practice.
Hmm. Hmm. I can
Though
see
still
that.
consuming animal meat more than just once or twice a week brings a host of benefits to your plate and to your body. I
Hmm.
think that I've had meat every day of my life,
Me too.
or fish. That's fine too. Meat or fish.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't think I've ever,
yeah.
now that doesn't mean I've had only meat, but I've had meat, I think, in every meal. I mean, even when I had the kids, I would take, 1 pound of ground beef and make,
Yeah,
spaghetti sauce, in the
right.
spaghetti sauce, and then we would share that. So there was always some.
Right. When I was on Weight Watchers, okay, they told you at least have 2 ounces of protein with every meal. Well, you know what? That wasn't enough for me. I was tired. I knew I needed more protein. So I just added that in, you know what I mean? And it worked fine, you know. So like you
Mhm.
say, you have to find your way and be aware of how your body is reacting to different things, you know.
Yeah.
If your doctor doesn't tell you anything, you know. But if I didn't eat enough protein, I was tired. So I doubled
Yeah.
my
And
protein, especially at dinner time. I doubled my protein. Instead of 2 ounces or 3 ounces, I had 6 ounces of protein for my dinner. Okay. And it
that's what
worked
I
out
do about
well.
now, about
Do you?
6, 8 ounces usually.
Okay. Okay.
Um, it's
Yeah.
which they always say the palms size of your palm. Maybe it's even a
Yeah.
little bit bigger, but something like that.
Right.
And
Right.
For
Hmm.
those that don't, want to harm the animals kind of thing, that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you can't have animal protein because there's still eggs. An egg is an egg is an egg.
Hmm.
It comes from an animal, but
Right.
it can be eaten. If it's not fertilized, then it's not ever going to be a
Yeah.
chicken. It's just an
Right.
egg and it's going to rot.
Right.
So you
Hmm.
may as well eat it. So there's
Yep.
one source, and then there's dairy. Now, some people
Yeah.
cannot use dairy, and we talked about dairy in a previous chapter about A2 dairy
Hmm.
being better than A1 and so on and so forth.
Right.
So that's another choice. And of course, if they can incorporate fish, that's excellent. If they can incorporate, well, liver, which does come from an animal, maybe cod
Hmm.
livers. I don't know. There's just so many things.
Right. Right.
We don't have to limit it to like Michaela had to just ruminant meats, lion diet.
Right.
But
Right.
there's
Right. Right.
so many choices.
Sure.
So I don't know where I left off here. Just to be clear, the Biblio diet, not all meat. Consult with your physician. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. You
Hmm.
don't have to reserve chewing on a juicy cut of filet mignon for a special occasion. Yeah, incorporate it regularly. Despite meat's bad rap over the years and a surge in plant-based options and fear-mongering documentaries, meat consumption remains strong. About 80% of Americans call themselves meat eaters.
Hmm.
98% of households buy meat. The number of
Ah.
people trying to eat less meat has dropped by 20% since
Huh.
2020. So meat from animals in our diets is not going anywhere. One caveat before you continue reading. When we use the term meat, we refer to organic, grass-fed, and pasture-raised animal meat. Let's
Right.
explore the difference between what you might call original meat and most of what you'll find in your local supermarket. There are crucial differences.
Hmm.
Certainly, there's crucial differences that we'll get into, but we also have to consider budget. So eat the best that you can with what you have for your budget.
Right.
One thing to be aware of is that in the marketplace, there's a lot of products out there, and they're trying to sell it to you as if it's meat, but it's not
Hmm.
meat. It's fake meat, better than meat, whatever
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
label they want to put on it. But it's not meat. It
Mm-mm.
is made in a lab, and that is not how God did it. Always how
Mm-mm.
God made it is better than how man made it. Always.
Right.
So just keep that in mind next time you're shopping.
Hmm.
So the grass-fed and pasture-raised difference. You might not think much about what the animals were that you eat were fed before they reached your plate, but this is an important factor to consider. Michael Pollan, an advocate for food system reform and author of multiple books, including In Defense of Food, puts it this way: the diet of the animals we eat has a bearing on the nutritional quality and healthfulness of the food itself, whether it's meat or milk or eggs. This should be self-evident. Yet, it's a truth routinely overlooked by the industrial food chain in its quest to produce vast quantities of cheap animal protein. Most beef in grocery stores comes from cows that are kept in confined animal leading operations, also called feedlots. And they actually should say cattle instead of cows, but anyway. So where
Hmm.
they're fed low cost, high energy foods to fatten them up quickly. Their diet is green based, primarily corn and soy, and often
Mm.
supplemented with hormones. Grain
Right.
fed cows have more acidic digestive tracts, promoting harmful bacteria like E. coli. The high demand for meat leads to crowded conditions and increasing disease and subsequent antibiotic use, which contributes to antibiotic resistance in humans. These are just a few of the unsettling realities behind the scenes of your average steak or burger.
Hmm.
About 97% of calves are fattened at feedlots. They may be efficient, but that efficiency comes with a horrifying price tag for these animals' health, including feedlot bloat, which can lead to suffocation and to the ultimate death of the animal. Overcrowding, poor sanitation, and nutritional deficiencies are just a few issues that come with feedlots, not to mention the negative environmental impacts. For example, the production of large amounts of manure in confined spaces can lead to water pollution if not properly managed. Additionally, feedlots can contribute to air pollution through the release of methane and ammonia. Finally, only 5% of feedlots can accommodate more than 100 cattle. Yet these large-scale operations are responsible for producing 80 to 90% of all grain-finished beef. In contrast to these feeding practices, grass-fed beef comes from the cattle that, as the name implies, graze on natural pastures. Just to clarify that, all beef, all cows, all cattle are grass-fed. They're just not all grass-finished, because initially they're going to get grasses, and then they go to feedlots for the finishing.
Really?
For the finishing, yes. And that's what my husband did. He raised cattle, and he worked with many cattle ranchers. Now, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be in a confined space, but they're going to be fed grass. They are grass-fed.
Yeah. Right.
Now, what we picture in our mind, and it would be the healthiest, is that they would be out there grazing in the fields. That would be the healthiest on natural grasses that are not sprayed, with insecticides and so on.
Yeah.
With Roundup. That would be the healthiest for sure. And then you would move them from, one pasture to another pasture to another pasture so that they can continue to graze. But that takes a lot of land, and it also takes the farmer or the cattle rancher being willing to move them. Here you go, right? So when you buy, it's good for the land.
When you buy, because my daughter just bought a package of ground beef, and it said grass-fed. What do you think?
Well, it's grass-fed.
Okay.
I just bought some too. I actually don't worry about it too much. I don't have the budget to be buying organic, grass-fed, massaged, meat.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have to do the best that we can do within our means. The best we can.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So we're not buying the cheapest, but we're not buying, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes what we read on the label, it's just there for marketing.
Wow.
Right? So it says grass-fed. Yeah, it's grass-fed. Okay. They all are. They're all grass-fed. How are they finished? Right. But whatever. I do buy that too.
Yeah.
But anyway. But maybe if I could afford others, I would. I actually like the taste of the grain finished better than the grass finished meat. It's fattier, but I do buy the grass-fed lean usually, but it actually is a fattier meat. And I don't know, different people have different preferences again, and
right.
So cows were created to eat grass, not grain. That's true. A grass-fed diet may lead to less weight gain, but it provides better nutrition and healthier fats and is less likely to contain antibiotics and hormones.
Right.
Now, they don't give them antibiotics, hormones and all that just because they feel like it. They don't want to waste money on that. There's a reason to give them, right? They give them when they need them, just like you would give your child antibiotics if they needed it. However, if they are in that really enclosed space, they may need it more than others.
Yeah, right. I agree, yeah.
So a 2015 Consumer Report studies that showed that grass-fed beef has fewer antibiotic-resistant bacteria and less overall contamination compared to conventional beef. Studies also show that grass-fed beef contains less fat, less cholesterol, twice as much CLA, and a higher concentration of omega-3 fatty acids, which lead to more favorable omega-6 to omega-3 ratio compared to grain-fed beef. Grass-fed beef production may face challenges like higher costs, fewer processing facilities, and consumer concerns about taste and texture differences, but the nutritional benefits outweigh the alternatives. Now, with omega-3s, you can also get them from other places. You can get them from eggs, from seafood. So there are other places that you can get it.
Mm.
So I'm sure you know someone who believes that eating meat is bad for the environment. But with grass-fed cattle, the opposite is true. Grass-fed cows actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve pasture ecosystems. The key is to preventing overgrazing and overtilling. Perennial pasture with a mix of grasses, legumes, and forbs, which are herbaceous plants, develop deep root systems, sometimes reaching up to 12 feet, which help break up compacted soil, build topsoil, and sequester carbon. Overgrazing harms plants and soil, but controlled grazing, fertilized by cow manure, stimulates plant growth and regeneration. Owning and having raised regenerative livestock for 16 years, we've learned firsthand that these animals are critical to the ecosystem as they provide natural fertilization. Grass-fed cows can potentially act as a net carbon sink, meaning they absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than they release. A Michigan State University study compared conventional feedlot agriculture to adaptive multi-paddock grazing. A regenerative farming method used temporary fencing to rotate cows and prevent overgrazing over 4 years. Researchers determined that multi-paddock grazing resulted in a net carbon sink. This means that well-managed farms that align with nature can positively impact the environment by putting carbon back into the soil, into the soil. So grass-fed beef, lamb, goat, buffalo, and poultry farms contribute to soil regeneration, wildlife ecology, maintenance, and protection of water and air quality.
Wow. Wow. Now, my daughter, we have a small farm, and it's not far from our house where we live. And she
Yep.
usually goes there and buys the beef and the chicken, and it does taste different. And we think it tastes better. Okay. So I guess maybe he is doing it the
I,
right way. I don't know.
right. I would say
Yes.
you're right. And the other point
Okay.
is if you can purchase off a farm that is close to you, way
Yeah.
better than purchasing
Okay.
from a
Okay.
store. Not only are you supporting the farmer in the local
Right.
community, but that animal is in the environment that you live in, basically.
Yes.
And
I
that's
thought
better
so.
for you too than getting
Okay.
one from
Okay.
Mexico or somewhere else. And
Okay. 'Cause
yeah,
yeah.
and you get to
Okay.
meet the farmer, you get to talk to the farmer, you get to find out more about his farming practices.
Yeah,
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 that's way
yeah,
better.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And so
fortunate too. I live in farmland,
oh,
basically.
okay, okay. Well, this is, I'm usually in Pittsburgh. You don't run into this, but in this area we live, there's this one little farm, okay? And
Right.
she calls them up and tells them what she needs, okay? And they have it all ready when she gets there because it is so
Yeah.
crowded, okay? You'd have to stand in line for hours if you didn't order it, okay? That's what she
Yeah.
does, yeah. I thought that was better. Okay.
And there are places that you can actually find out the farms that are in your area. You can
Hmm.
order even, I'm sure, online, from someone,
Oh,
but
yeah, that's true.
or
That's true.
ask around and find out which farmer does this, which one does that, and get
Hmm.
your meat even delivered to your home.
Hmm. Probably, yes. Hmm.
You probably could.
Right.
But
Yep.
yeah, I have farms in my area, and
Okay.
I mean, I don't usually buy from them the meat though. I might buy eggs and other things from there. I went
Hmm.
to, oh, what was that? Alpaca. It was an alpaca farm close by, and
Hmm.
to buy meat. I thought, oh, I want to
Wow.
try alpaca meat.
Oh,
It was
I
very
never had
lean.
that. Oh,
I know.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
all sorts of things out there. I'm like, try them all.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's experimenting. Anyway, let's close in prayer. And
Yes.
all
Yes.
right,
Yep.
Father, I thank you, Lord. I thank you that you've provided for everything that we need. That when we go through tough circumstances in life and we just feel like we've been abandoned by everyone, we feel like we're abandoned by you, but we're never abandoned. You're always there. And that you see
Mhm.
us through. You strengthen us in our weakness. That even in horrible circumstances, we will overcome. And you're going to turn it around for good. I thank you, Lord, that you've done that in our life, in my life, in Pat's life, and you do it again over and over again. I thank you for the food that you've provided, good, nutritious food for the plants and the fish and the birds and the animals in the field, for the cattle, Lord. I pray that you would give us the wisdom that we need for our bodies, for what we should eat, how much we should eat, when we should eat, but that our focus wouldn't be on that. Our focus would remain on you because you're the one we serve. You're the one we love. You're the one that we wish to please and to do what is right at all times. I ask you,
Mhm.
Lord, just for your wisdom throughout this week and your blessing and connection as we go through our days. So we connect with people and they would sense the presence of God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, you're welcome. So as you connect with people, they will sense the
Yes.
presence of God with your smile, with your words, and just the way you present yourself.
Thank you.
Have a great
Okay.
week.
You
Bye, Pat.
too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye bye.